So are you thinking about trading in the Golden State for the Sunshine State? Well, on today's video, we're going to talk about that. And we're getting started right now. Hi, I'm Palm Beaches Paul, your local realtor and guide to the Palm Beaches, and welcome back to my channel. It is an absolutely beautiful day in paradise. The wind's blowing, it's cool, it's a nice fall day, the sun is shining, and there's almost no humidity in the air. And this beautiful weather and gorgeous beaches that we have here in Florida is one of the many reasons why a lot of people are thinking about relocating from places like California and New York to South Florida. So in today's video, we're going to talk about a couple of those reasons. So let's get started. All right, so ever since the pandemic, there's been a pretty big exodus of people from places like California and New York to South Florida. They're also moving to places like Texas. That's actually where I'm from. But for 28 years, I've called South Florida home, and I absolutely love it. As you can see, the beaches, the weather, it's a beautiful place to live. Now, it's not perfect. I've made videos about pros and cons of living here. No place is perfect, but you know, after 28 years, it hasn't scared me off, and there's a lot of great reasons to move here. So I recently helped a couple who bought a house here in Coral Springs, which is near Fort Lauderdale. They're originally from California, and they were in South Carolina. They actually still have some property out in California, and they're looking to sell that property and reinvest here in South Florida. And he mentioned to me that just a lot of his friends and a lot of his neighbors and a lot of people in general are leaving California for a multitude of reasons. And we're not going to make this a political video, but there are reasons that people are leaving there to come to places like Florida. So let's talk about a couple of those reasons. And, you know, as I said, some of them are good, some of them may not be so good. You have to weigh that out for yourself to see if it's worth, you know, moving to Florida from California. All right, and since we can't really talk about the whole state of California and the whole state of Florida because they're both really big states, we're going to use Palm Beach County and San Diego County as comparisons for this video. All right, so this is one thing that everyone always asks when they're moving from one state to another, and that is, what's the weather like? So, in comparison to San Diego County versus Palm Beach County, San Diego County gets around 266 days of sunshine. Palm Beach County gets around 233. So we are sort of in the tropics, and we tend to have a wetter season than you guys are going to get out there. In the summer months, it's hot, it's humid. You've seen that in my other videos. Temperatures in the 90s, feels like it's 100 degrees, and it's wet, wet, wet. But once that goes away, like a day like today, here in October, the weather's beautiful. Now today's going to be about 85 degrees here, but there's a breeze blowing in off the ocean. I don't feel any humidity. It's really a gorgeous day out, and it just gets better as the year goes on. Once we get past January, the temperatures really mellow out down into the 70s, even some low cool temperatures in the 50s every once in a while, mostly in the evening. But the weather is pretty good, and so I don't think you're going to lose much moving from California to South Florida because we really do have great weather. Before you even say it, I know you're thinking, hurricanes. Okay, yes, we are in hurricane country. We get hurricanes here in South Florida. But the good thing about a hurricane is you know about it for roughly 2 weeks before the thing even comes near you, because the weathermen will harp on it and just talk about it. They do a good job, but really for 2 weeks you hear them talking about the hurricane coming. Versus California, you don't know when a wildfire is going to pop up, and you certainly don't know when an earthquake is going to hit. There is no warning, right? So those could just kind of hit at any time and cause mass devastation. At least with the hurricane, you're prepared and you kind of know it's coming, and you can get out of its way if you have to. And while we're talking about beaches, Palm Beach County has 47 miles of beaches just in this county alone. And the whole state of Florida has just tons and miles of gorgeous beaches, from all the way up in the top up in St. Augustine all the way down to the Florida Keys. Although the Florida Keys really don't have beaches as much as Palm Beach County and the other places do. It's a little different. You'd have to watch one of my videos about the Keys when I went on vacation. They don't have the typical beaches like you see here, but they do have a few places, and then you go to Key West and they have a beach. But nonetheless, beaches are beautiful, lots of sand dunes, lots of nature. They've done a great job of keeping it nice and clean. The beaches are really beautiful, and we don't have that kelp that you have in California. Yeah, or those freezing temperatures. The water here is nice and warm almost all year round. I went to California once. I went up to Santa Barbara. I put my foot in the water. I know that's way north of San Diego, but man, that water was freezing. And forget that kelp. That stuff grabbing your feet, So I think we win with the beaches. If you're a surfer, you beat us. California has the waves. But hey, Kelly Slater, man, he came here from South Florida, and we do have the Sebastian Inlet where he did a lot of his surfing, and a lot of people still surf today. You have a really cool surf shop up here called Nomads, which has been here for a really long time. Really cool surf shop. Or you can go to the Surf District right here in Delray Beach, another great place for all your surfing gear. And you know, the waves aren't going to be ripping and as gnarly as they are in California, but there's a lot of people who enjoy surfing here, or you can be a land surfer like I am with this big old longboard. And there's also tons of things to do outside. We have lots of great parks with nature that you can go walking and jogging. You can go mountain bike riding. Well, it's really not any mountains, but you know, off-road bike riding. And you can go beach cruising like I do. That's why you see me do a lot in Delray Beach, but even Jupiter and just all over South Florida. You can hop on a bike and go bike riding. There's so many places to see, and there's so much nature and parks to go out and check out. So if you're really an outdoor person, you're not going to lose anything moving here to South Florida, because there's plenty of people who bike and exercise and get out, and there's boot camps you can do on the beach in the early morning, and yoga and whatever you want. Watch the sun come up and have do some yoga on a beautiful day at the beach. So definitely you're not going to lose out on that lifestyle moving here to South Florida. All right, so it's a beautiful state, right? Beautiful beaches and lots of great places to live. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about living. So single family homes here in Palm Beach County. Well, right now the median price for a single family home here in Palm Beach County is around $480,000. But in San Diego County, the median price for a single family home is around $877,000. Now, there's some other variables that are going to make up the difference between living in California and living here in South Florida, mainly property taxes. So from what I could find in San Diego County, the property tax is about 0.73%. And here in Palm Beach County, it's 1.6% of the assessed property value. Things you can do when you do become a property owner here in the state of Florida is you can do a homestead exemption. So what the homestead does, it allows you to reduce the taxable value of your property up to $50,000. Now, there are some other exemptions for wounded veterans or widows or people over 65 years old. But what I'll do is I'll put a link down below, so then you can click it and go check it out for yourself, and you'll have a whole lot of details, information in there about how the homestead exemption can help you. Now, another cost that you need to be concerned about when you move to Florida is getting insurance on your property and flood insurance. Both very expensive, or can be very expensive, depending on where you live. Obviously, if you're in a high flood zone, that can cost you quite a bit of money a year. I've seen quotes as high as $8,000 just for the flood insurance. And then homeowners insurance is getting a little bit difficult because a lot of companies have backed out of Florida from offering homeowners insurance, which leaves you few options to choose from. And of course that means the prices are going to go up, which they have been the past year. A lot of people aren't real happy about that. So I'm not sure what insurance costs are in California for a home, but here in Florida, they can be quite expensive, and obviously if you want to live somewhere by the beach, where I'm sitting now, it's going to be even more so. Okay, and since we're talking about insurance, let's go ahead and talk about car insurance. Florida ranks third as having the highest car insurance in the nation. On average, people in Florida pay around $2,300 a year for full coverage. A little less if you don't have full coverage, but I would recommend the full coverage. So those are definitely some reasons that aren't in favor of Florida, but it's just a fact of life if you're going to live here that you have those insurance costs. Okay, and one more thing about taxes, and this applies more to new construction, but I know a lot of people looking to move to Florida are looking like at new construction. So in California, you have what's called a Melrose tax, I believe, which is an infrastructure tax. It deals with, I guess, with the development of the community and the roads and stuff, and it can be a 20 to 25 year thing that has to be paid off with your taxes. In Florida, we have what's called a CDD, Community Development District, similar to that. You'll find it in a lot of new communities, and it's something that you pay when you pay your taxes on your property. And again, it's for the the development and the community and the roads and stuff like that. So kind of a trade-off there. You leave one, you come here, you get that. But again, that's only typical if you're going to buy like a new construction or a place that's a fairly new development, or places that have like a lot of amenities like a clubhouse and all sorts of activities that are part of the community. Okay, so there's been a lot of things about taxes, and you may be thinking, well, maybe I don't want to move to Florida. But okay, hold on, it gets better. You know what we don't have in the state of Florida? You know it, it's coming. No state income tax. That's right. In the state of Florida, we have no state income tax. And you know what? We don't ever want one. So don't ever vote for it. So here's the deal. In California, you have a state income tax along with quite a few other taxes from what I've heard and seen from watching other YouTubers. But let's just talk about the state income tax. So it's anywhere between 1% based on what you make up to 13.8% of your income. Right now, that's the highest. But from what I've read, they're looking at raising that even higher, almost to 18% for people who make $5 million and more a year. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, that's fine, they can afford it. Well, that's for you to say, but I know that I wouldn't want to be paying 18% on top of the property taxes I'm paying and all the other taxes that California has. So that's a big reason why a lot of people are looking to move to Florida, whether it's California or the Northeast. No state income tax is a pretty big savings for a lot of people. So, and like I said, on the low side, it's only 1%, but I mean, we're talking about people making less than $10,000 a year. But on the average, people are paying somewhere, I think, like 6 to 8% of income tax in California. Again, it all depends on what you make. So I think that's a pretty good reason to consider Florida. If you're thinking of coming here and, depending on what you do for a living and how much you make, that could be quite a bit of savings that you're not handing over to the state every year. And gas in California is right now $4.57 a gallon for regular. Here in Florida, at least down here in Palm Beach County, again, it's about $3.30 a gallon. So that alone is a savings. Plus, they don't have an emissions test or a car inspection that you have to pay for every year like you do in California. Now, you will have to pay to transfer your tags and all that, your title, when you come here to Florida and when you get a new license, and you have to do that about 30 days after you become a resident. So you'll have to get insurance in the state of Florida. You can't have California insurance. And then you'll have to go to the DMV, which I'll put a link to that as well, because that's a whole other video and a whole other subject. No one wants to really talk about the DMV, but I most recently went and got a new license plate because I have a trailer for my kayaks, and I'd never done that before. And one of the places had me waiting about a month, and I looked at another place and I got in the very next week. So, when you come down here, you'll want to look around, find out, and you don't have to get it in Palm Beach County because it's a state-ran organization, right? So you can go anywhere and get your license plate and take care of all that throughout the state of Florida. So some places may be a little less crowded, so you might want to drive, south or north a little bit to a smaller county and take care of it and get your license plate. All right, so in this one, we're really not going to talk a lot about it, but it is something you want to consider, especially if you're parents and you're moving to South Florida, and that is the education here in South Florida versus California. So there's lots of fine schools, there's lots of private schools, there's great public schools, and I'm not going to tell you which ones are good and which ones aren't, because as realtors, we're not supposed to do that. What I will tell you is that you can go on niche.com or greatschools.org, and you can look for the schools in the cities that you're thinking about moving to, like here in South Florida, and then reach out to me and say, hey, Paul, we want to look for homes that are in this particular school district. That I can do. Also, there's lots of great universities here throughout the whole state of Florida. University of Miami and University of Central Florida, University of Florida, go Gators. That's where my older son graduated from. So, and there's also lots of community colleges throughout. So, but obviously education is something that's important for anyone moving here. So I'll be sure to put those links down below so you can check out the schools that would be beneficial to you, to what you think are right for your family. Now, there's one other thing I did want to talk about, which is, always big to people when they're moving from one state to another, and that is sports teams, right? If you're into sports and you want to, pull for your favorite basketball team or football team, well, you definitely have a lot of options here. Now, I know some of them might not be the greatest, depending on who your team is, but, we do have the Miami Dolphins, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, they got Brady, right? So, again, those are other parts of Florida, but you can still root for them. I'm a Cowboy fan. Watch my subscription just drop now after saying that. But I've always been a Cowboy fan, so just shut up about it. I'm not a bandwagon fan. But we have the Miami Heat, and then you have the Marlins, and then you also have, the Spring Baseball League that comes here, and we get the Astros that come here, and so there's a lot of stuff that you can do. Plus we have the Panthers for hockey, and they're working, and also soccer, which is huge down in Miami, and throughout the state of Florida. It's getting bigger and bigger. So there's a lot of sports that you can go see and do and get involved in, plus all the college teams that are around here. I mean, hey, the SEC is pretty strong, so definitely some good college football here, as well as the Hurricanes. So depending on what you're into and what you want to watch, there's a lot of sports activities that you can take part of. Not to mention, guys like me, I like to get out and go fishing. I love offshore fishing. And there's no better place than that than right here. We're so close to the Gulf, out in the Atlantic Ocean, that you don't have to go offshore very far before you can hit some really big fish. Sorry if it sounds like I'm talking a little odd, but I had a bridge done yesterday at the dentist, and so it's a temporary bridge. I got to go back, and it kind of feels like I just have this big piece of cement in my mouth, and it's making it kind of difficult to talk, and it's not really comfortable, and it doesn't make me feel that great, but I'm trying. But what would make me feel great is if you guys would give me a big thumbs up for this video. I'm trying to grow this channel, and YouTube likes that. Also, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. And while you're there, go ahead and click the little bell so you can get notified every time I make a new video. I make a new video about once a week about what it's like to live here in beautiful South Florida. All right, so I know we've only touched on a few things about moving here from California to Florida. There's probably many other reasons that you might want to consider, but you just have to think about if South Florida is a place that you could see yourself living or raising a family or whatever. I lived here for 28 years, and I think it's a pretty great place, and I originally moved from Texas. So lived in Texas until I was 21, 22, and then ended up moving out to Florida, and I've been here ever since. So I find it a pretty good state. Is it perfect? No. There's some things I hate about it. Summer sucks. I hate summer. It's just too hot. But thank God we have air conditioning. But other than that, it's a great place. I've enjoyed living here, and I love the outdoor lifestyle. Plus, we're surrounded by water, so we have the Intracoastal Waterway, we have the Everglades, so there's tons of water activities that you can get out and enjoy. You can go out, fishing saltwater, fishing freshwater. You can go kayaking, canoeing, jet skiing, whatever it is. You can go out on an airboat ride in the Everglades. There's a lot of fun activities that you can do. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's really not that much of a trade-off if you're someone who enjoys the outdoors, because South Florida has endless amounts of things to do and see all year round. All right, so California, Florida, Golden State, Sunshine State. You decide. But if you do decide to come here, I'm a licensed realtor with Keller Williams Innovations here in Boynton Beach, Florida, and I'd be more than happy to answer all your questions that are real estate related and help you find your perfect house here in South Florida. And as always, when you're in the Palm Beaches, get out and enjoy paradise. I'll talk to you next week.